Hi, everyone. Hi.
Hi, Space Besties. Hi, Sarah. And
Hi.
Breezy. And Slab and Nick. And who else? Is he Flyboy?
Josh was somewhere.
And
Wandering
Lloydie.
Winder.
And Mark. And Phil.
Oh, and this phaser.
And I think I'm missing some people. Link. Also
Nope.
Link.
I definitely didn't set it to be 12:30 UK time instead of 12:30 CST.
Great.
So if anybody did turn up at 6:30 this morning, I apologize. But also, you should know better by now.
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
There's no way Ambassador is getting up at 6:30 to do this show. No.
I mean, who would get up that early to watch the show is the question.
I would. I know that. I know Flyboy definitely has in the past. Flyboy's been here in the chat and has been like, "Where is everyone?"
Oh, Flyboy, that's
Only
right.
I think it's happened twice.
You
Only to
fucking
realise
stud.
that, yeah, he was 6 hours early.
Just as a
My
reminder,
bad.
this is an R-rated
Yeah.
show. Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Thank you for
Don't
being
forget
here.
that. We have.
Yeah, you should
we
know
have
better, Lloydie.
Sensors available on demand.
It doesn't work unless it looks like you're cursing.
I assume that mentally you're always cursing, so I'm censoring your internal monologue. That's my plan. Do we want some
Let
bomb
Flyboy live
as
this
well?
down. Sarah, you're so sweet. We had a fun moment over was it yesterday or the day before yesterday where our friends over at Moco Made were talking about Minecraft. And so apparently those over in the Moco world want to see a Minecraft world that Ian, my mother, my friend Jen, and I built with Iris / for Iris. So we hear you. We are going to do it probably next week because I need to transfer over the world from one laptop into another laptop, and I didn't get that done today.
Bad Danae. You had one job
I
of
didn't
hundreds.
actually. This is a Star Trek show, not a Minecraft show.
What?
But I do think it'd be
Get
kind of
outta
fun
here.
to show people like some of the kooky things that we've made in Minecraft.
Yeah, like your chicken murder machine is number one of the list.
Really? You
Yeah.
want to show people? Do you think that'd be good?
Yeah, I think so. Like the mechanics, I don't fully understand the mechanics behind it at all. But
I
you
did
seem to
get
be
a
able to
little
move it
engineering.
around. Yeah, you
Yeah.
got super engineering. Rutherford would be very proud.
Are we going to build this enterprise in Minecraft? That's a great
Okay.
question.
Here's the thing. I made an attempt to build an Enterprise D in Minecraft, and I was progressing really, really well with it, doing a great job. And then as things happen, we evolved and no longer use that world. So I tried again, but on like a smaller scale, and making circles in Minecraft on a small scale is very difficult. So the progress is minimal, but I can show you
world
the original
is on
Enterprise.
this computer.
Yeah.
We could show that one.
We can
actually.
show you that one at some point. The Derper Prize, yeah,
It
that's
is-
basically
it is
what I
very
ended up
Derper
making.
Prize
Yeah.
looking. To be honest, your Enterprise looks a bit derpish.
Yeah, naturally that's what it's going to look like because you're making it out of squares. And
Yes.
the Enterprise is not a square.
No, it is not. My daughter tried to trick me into playing because, quote, you can make the Enterprise in Minecraft. You should try it.
You can.
Daughter's not wrong.
It's very difficult though. Like I got my model Enterprise, which is there. I measured it and then increased that size upwards to where one block would equal 1 meter or something. And it's so hard.
This whole thing, in a really interesting way, started because when I started playing Minecraft, I needed a Minecraft buddy to teach me around. Slab, it was very helpful to have a Minecraft buddy because there's the creative world where you can just fly around and make stuff and you have unlimited resources. But then there's like the survival aspect of the game where you have to go find the resources to make the things. And there is a fun in both of those elements for me specifically.
Yeah.
But I had never really played before, and a group of friends invited me, shout out to the No Sleep Club, and Ian jumped into that world with me, and we ended up making, like, I had a room, he had a room, and we made his room completely black and then made a Star Trek bed in there for him.
Yes, we did.
And
it was amazing.
That's how it started, was what if we did this that we could walk inside of, though? And you have to just, I mean, it has to be huge to do so. But that star room was really, really cool.
It was super cool because the way to get into it was like this secret corridor. So once you're in there, it's completely black, and I use different like light sources to make stars, and then this tiny Enterprise that was made of like 20 blocks just had room for one bed on it, and you can't go inside it obviously, and you sleep on it.
I think
and it was like my little dream bedroom. I slept between the nacelles on the star drive section.
It was amazing.
It was amazing.
Yeah. 8. Yes, Ian has. I was there when he got that achievement. I was like, you try it first, and then it worked, and then I haven't got the achievement.
Well, the achievement is throwing the fireball back at the ghast. I haven't punched it in the face. Wait, if you mean physically with my hands,
that was the achievement was called punch a ghast in the face. I'm probably wrong about that.
No, I don't think that's what it's called, but I could be wrong. I haven't physically punched it in the face.
We do have what we call the ghast farm, where
we do have
we went down into the nether, and we kind of like emptied out a big room, not realizing that all of the bad guys were going to be coming into the world in that room. And it's large enough for a ghast to pop in. About one out of every 10 times you pass it, you'll hear a ghast in there. So we call it the ghast farm. So we could go punch
completely
him in the face.
Accidental. Yeah. You can actually make turbo lifts.
Yes, you can.
You can. Yeah.
With water.
Little bubble elevator.
Yeah.
It won't be able to go sideways, but you can make it stop on each deck. Yeah. That's a really good idea.
If Slab made anything Trek, Slab would make a giant sex candle. They actually do have pickle candles in Minecraft, and so that I think.
Wait, why does that equate to sex candle?
Anyway,
it's not an aubergine candle.
Because a pickle reminds me of a, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Why is it green?
They're zombies, I guess. I don't know.
Or you're with Orions a lot? You hang out with a lot of Orion dicks?
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Well, there's a little bit of fun conversation about Minecraft and Star Trek. But we do want to show you guys some of the worlds. That would be really, really fun.
Yeah.
And we look forward to that. Just also as a note, there's a lot of people in here who know Breezy. Used to be a streamer here on Twitch and is also known as my mother. And she is probably going to start streaming again at some point in the next 6 months. Let's just be honest. Could be a while, could be shorter, could be longer. I don't know. But it's in the next like phase of life. And since she is absolutely obsessed with Minecraft, you will be probably watching her over in the Minecraft world.
Mm-hmm. It's so fun. It's such a good brain vacator. Like to just log in and what do I want to do now that isn't real life?
I got obsessed with Minecraft because I really enjoyed like the part of my brain that it tickles. But yes, I play it less and less and less, and I'm more and more and more wanting to play Baldur's Gate.
I'm so desperate to get back into Baldur's Gate.
Yes, my
We
mother.
finally got into part 2.
We did. My mother started streaming a couple years back. She actually was doing a lot of crochet and art at that time. And it all sort of stemmed from my brother started streaming a while back. And that's how my mom and I really came to know Twitch in general. And then we found just various communities to connect with. And so she got a camera and started showing people how she crochets. And so, but she doesn't actively stream right now. That's kind of been put on like my real actual birthed me mother.
Birthed you. Amazing.
My birthed me mom.
Great way to put it.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. Meet us here.
We probably
10
could
a.m.
tomorrow. No, we can't tomorrow. I have an
You
event
said
tomorrow.
this twice.
I have an event tomorrow, so I won't be able to go home. But this is my mom. For those who are wondering, this is Breezy Lady B. This is my mother. So if you're on
Breezy
Twitch
B.
and you want to pop over and give her a follow, please feel free to. And while you do that, I'll just intro the show today. Welcome to Captain's Pod, a podcast,
Woo!
a live recording of the CinemaSins Podcast Network show about Star Trek. We are an R-rated show. And we do this part with you guys, and then we'll go live here in a moment, where we actually begin to talk about the show in a way that will end up on the final podcast, which means we talk to you guys less and directly to each other more to get that beautiful recording that you are loving, hopefully. Have you updated the banner?
Yes,
Sweet.
I have actually for once. I actually did it. I had some spare time.
Thanks, Digi! And thank you, Slab. Thank you, Slab.
Before we get into the show, I do have a couple of corrections that I wanted to put into the outtakes.
I mean, I was going to link, but Ian's on his thing now, so.
Oh, we also steal your comments.
I like to say you influence the show, but
Yeah.
you guys like to say we steal your comments. Sometimes we have the same thoughts as you.
Sometimes you email me them ahead of time, which makes it even easier for me to steal them and claim them as my own.
Steal them. We don't them.
I do. You don't speak for me. Do what I want. Do what I want. I have. So there's a correction I've been trying to make for 2 weeks. And 2 weeks ago, I actually recorded it, saved it as like a little edit. And I was like, I'll remember to put that in at some point. That'll be great. Completely forgot about it, but recorded it, didn't put it into the show. Didn't get a chance to do it last week as well, but it's bugging me, and I need to be honest about it. My mistake was, when we were doing the episode, I think it was Much Ado About Boimler, and we said they're in like the tactical gear, and they're on that secret away mission, and they're going to plant this plant. This is Freeman and Ransom, and I said that that's it's a reference to Chain of Command and how Picard, Beverly, and Worf were in the tactical gear and they were sent on this obscure mission. I'm such an idiot, Danae. During that episode, I said that Beverly had some obscure knowledge about theta band radiation, and it's actually Picard. Picard has the obscure knowledge that we had no idea about, and he's the one that was sent on the mission. Beverly is just there because the Cardassians are making a biological weapon. They think they are. That's why she's there. So Picard had the random knowledge.
Do you feel better now?
I mixed up my characters. Not as good as I thought I would.
Wow.
But yes. I also didn't make an error last week, but I attributed the Crazy Ivan to Firefly, and it is done in Firefly, the first episode of Firefly, but the Crazy Ivan was actually, I believe, first mentioned in pop culture in The Hunt for Red October. Thank you, Paulie, for reminding me of that. But I watched Firefly before Hunt for Red October, so that's why it's my point of reference.
Slab says, I don't remember who, but someone pointed that out in the chat during the show, and Slab says that they will take credit for it if they are not here.
Sometimes you steal each other's comments.
But then Wandering was like, it was me.
What I'm wondering...
Sorry, Slab. You only got credit for like 20 seconds before that mystery was solved.
I got my peoples confused, and yes, I deserve all of the pain sticks. I do. Man, Danae would not enjoy the episode with pain sticks. Or maybe she would. Maybe she would. Yeah, she might actually.
I don't know. She would. I could hear Sarah in my imagination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she would.
Okay, now this is probably not, I don't know why, but there was a very tendy moment that I had in my imagination for Sarah. Just like this, like, intensity.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
adorable intensity.
When Tendi gets shrieky, it's amazing.
You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, get ready, everyone. Hold on to your horses. Hold on
Actually,
to the things.
please step off of your horses because we're about to get beamed into 10-4. No! And I don't want you to get mingled with a horse by mistake. I know that's Flyboy's favorite thing that we do all the time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Danae did it, not me.
What are you talking about? What did I do?
Don't blame me for that. Danae threw that up.
But whose fault is it for leaving it in the the show stuff so that I can do it?
Shit. Yeah, I should remove that. Oh, you're such a vindictor. Wait, hang on. You're such a Vin Vinta. Is that better?
I just feel like well, thank you to your own invisible audience and your imagination.
Yeah.
In my mind going forward, anytime we curse, it just needs to be
at the end of it, no matter what. It's just mother shit
Oh my god. All right, let's set show.
Look at us. Let's do it. Hang on, I gotta right. To the beam out.
What's going on? You took like this little moment and the other part. Oh shit.
Slightly different tone. Okay.
Oh no.
Let's get to the
my
right part of my notes. I need to organize these notes. Okay. Welcome to 10 Forward, the part of the show where we grab something from the replicator and share our immediate thoughts and feelings on the episode we just watched. Most important question first. What would you like from the replicator ambassador?
Chocolate chip cookies.
But you're allergic to chocolate.
I am not.
You are not allergic to chocolate.
I am not. And because I know at least one person on the crew is, that's more cookies for me.
So selfish. What if she died?
Then she shouldn't have eaten the cookies she knew she was allergic to.
No, that's fair. But it's so tempting. That's so nice. How can you resist?
It's not like no one can ever have chocolate. It's just that giving her chocolate is an insult.
It's not like even replicated chocolate. Would replicated chocolate be this? Would you like replicated nuts? Would you still be allergic to replicated nuts if they're not real nuts?
We've had so many replicator.
It's a valid question. The more complicated the technology, the more questions it asks.
Based on our conversations of replicators, my understanding is that when you go to cook, that it is all of the ingredients. So it is the full like molecular makeup.
Yeah.
So my answer would be yes, but due to sciencey reasons, I'm assuming you could also just remove whatever agent would be causing trouble, and or no one is allergic in the future because they can, you know, use light and redo their genome or whatever.
No. In the movies, you can suddenly introduce an allergy, like an allergy to retinox, which means that you have to wear glasses if your name is Captain Kirk. Which leads us quite nicely into... Oh, wait, no, I'll have some soup. I'll have the soup that Billups is happening that makes... that. I'll have the soup that Billups is eating.
Hold on,
such a hard name.
One more time.
Billups.
Try it again.
We'll have the soup. We are the collective. We're the Borg. We will eat your soup. I will have the soup that Billups is eating. What do you do with soup? You drink it in 10-4 because he's a stone cold badass. That's why. Oh, this is rough. Okay, we are talking about Lower Decks, Season 1, Episode 9, Crisis Point. While I have my own Crisis Point, give us a synopsis, Ambassador, with the context of you have only seen one Star Trek movie.
Yes. Yeah. So in today's episode, have you ever wanted to watch what would actually happen if someone infiltrated a ship and shot everyone and killed everyone and crashed the ship and had no care about the plot? Well, this is the show. This is the episode this is what you want to watch. If you want to see what would actually happen if a few people just entered in with phasers set to kill, this is the episode for you to watch.
It's all a movie. It doesn't matter.
That's pretty much what this episode is. It does forward some of the deeper understandings of like character work. And of course, the big reveal that we knew already, which is that there is a relation between the captain and Mariner. But I think the big draw for this one, is you get to see what happens if you go into the holodeck and you work out your angst / adorations with your fellow crewmates in a simulation / movie.
Get some of that sweet movie therapy. Ambassador, overall thoughts and feelings. Did you have a good time? I'm fascinated by whether this hit for you or not.
I think this is the only episode of Lower Decks anyone should ever watch, and then you should just leave the show.
Yay! Yeah. You liked it that much?
It might peak for me here though, and that's the down part. Like that might.
That's interesting.
Be it. Yeah.
That is fascinating because this is the episode that decided we're going to make this the movie episode. We're going to reference all of the tropes that happen in Star Trek movies, all of the stuff that doesn't make sense, and then you've got the underlying theme of Mariner finally working through why she's such a self-sabotaging, what's it, and obviously exposing that secret. So I was genuinely nervous, and I had a couple of emails where people were also nervous because this is up there as people's favorite Lower Decks episodes among the fans because of all of those reasons. But they were worried you wouldn't get it or you wouldn't appreciate it.
Get what?
Because you haven't seen the Star Trek movies. This references the Star Trek movies so much, they were worried that this might miss you or you might feel left out.
Oh. I mean, true to the format of this show, we know 100% I missed something. But if you can still enjoy it regardless, that's awesome. That's sometimes when it's this reference heavy, it's easy to feel left out. This was not reference heavy like other episodes were So for me, yes, there's references in Lower Deck in the Lower Decks every single episode. That's just a given. But a lot of times it's like the engineering speak or like the engineer babble or the techno babble that you'll hear. It's like that, but it's reference babble. And so you know that they're referencing something and you know you're missing out on something. But every episode that happens, there's usually something else for me to kind of like connect to. In this one, I don't know what references I missed.
That's great. That's perfect. That's actually a positive thing.
I can tell you that I know it was making fun of some things that, like for example, the light refractions happening whenever the movie starts, like the lens flare. I picked up on that one. How long the introduction to the new ship lasted.
Yes.
That was fantastic.
It's so great.
And that's something where it's just funny no matter what. And I can then go, oh, this must happen a lot. But that it was so long, like it kept going on for so long. It didn't matter.
Funny again.
Yeah. Like I didn't need, that's not even a reference to something specific. That's like a reference to what happens in the movies when they've created this amazing thing and they really, really, really want to get their money out of it. Like how much money goes into creating a CGI version of these beautiful ships, or how
back
much
in the day, real
money
models.
goes into the model. Exactly. The small intricate details. Like you want to capture that because that's like the big thing. What are we flying around in? Let's show it to everybody. Let's
I wish
show
they
them
would
this
do that
angle, and this
more.
angle, and this angle, and this angle, and this angle. Yeah.
Modern movies don't do that nearly enough. But the motion picture is famous for, I think it's, somebody will say exactly how long it is, but I think it's a 10-minute circling of the new refit Enterprise. And Kirk is just in this pod. And the idea is just get Kirk to the Enterprise, but they do like 17 laps of like glory shots and lights and nacelles. And I love at the end of this, when they finish on the Cerritos, it's just like spinning, spinning, spinning. It's like, we've done too much. There are too many angles. But in the motion picture, they take that to the extreme.
Oh, it was great.
It's so long.
Here's my notes. I will, Cerritos went through upgrades. They look at it. Shuttle flying around, just like the movies. A slower pace for sure. And I want to get back to that in a second. With cuts to the window and the ship porn and flying and gasping and the ship porn and more angles just going on and 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 on. And I just kept writing for as long as it happened. So my end awning went on for some time. But what I really liked about it is, I don't know, this seemed like this episode just knew so strongly what it was doing. And again, it has all the crew together, even though they're a simulated crew. Fun. And that has the same vibe from last episode for me, where there was just a cohesion in the storytelling. The through line was so nice because even if it's a faster paced, it's kind of one unified focal point throughout the episode last week. This week it did a very similar thing where everyone was together, but it was even more clear, and they actually sat in their moments a lot longer.
Yes.
We're not jumping in and adding things, and even though the pace comparatively is still fast, it's not what it has been in the past, which is a bit of a relief. So even that moment of circling the ship was like a nice breather, and the fact that the episode is choosing to spend however long they spent, probably close to a minute, of their precious 22 on this ship circle, it was almost like a really important, when you only have so much time to do so much, to give a minute to anything is a choice.
That's a lot.
But it was almost, it felt like their gift to something really, really big. Because if you're only a movie lover, or like you really love the Star Trek movies, that moment is going to sing for you in these really beautiful ways. So they're having fun and they're making fun, but it was also super delightful pacing wise, because there was this like break in the music. Like when you're listening to the orchestra and all of a sudden like the music cuts out, and then, but it's like, no, I can still barely hear something. And then it begins to swell again. It almost draws you back to the table. It forces you to pay attention to what it's doing. And I think that was a really, really clever humor beat, storytelling beat, homage beat. And I really liked all the different ways that every time it cut to the window, the characters are in these different positions. And they're sort of like, Billip is just getting some love from Handsome. And it was great.
Tear in everyone's eye.
So
it is the most impressive thing Lower Decks does is be a parody and an homage at the same time. It is paying respect. It is taking the piss out of it. And this really feels like the reins were let loose completely. It was like, if there's anything you want to do it in this episode. And they just had so much fun.
But like in a psychotic way.
Yeah, completely psychotic. It's very much like Mariner. Like anything you want to do this episode, Mariner, you go and do it.
And it's like, if you've ever wanted to really break morals, like if you want to show murder and chaos and damage and permanence, like this is go for it, writers. And it's as if they sat down and they had a seance for psychopaths and then listened to the echoing voices of all of the writers of Star Trek past who whispered to them things like, hold a Borg head. and use it as a bomb. It just
Does the shield still work when the head is removed from the body?
Shoot a Vulcan in the head. These crazy things. They wrote them all down and no one said no. They started off their writer's room with just a big old rubber stamp of yes. And that was interesting.
Yeah.
Because we saw a lot of people die, but they're also just holograms. But the idea that's like the under kind of tone of this episode is a peek into the mind of Boimler and Mariner. And we've been talking about who is the main character of this show. And I continue to feel like at this point, it is the both of them very much in an even kind of pace. I don't feel like this is Mariner's show 100%. Though she does spend more time in the limelight because she is such an action character.
Yeah.
But this was so fun because it was Boimler and Mariner's program together that gave us the meat of this episode.
It's such a clever metaphor because you have the technical knowledge and all of like the by the book Starfleet stuff and the nerd. If you went to Wikipedia and like Memory Alpha and found all of the information about Star Trek, that's what Boimler created in a holodeck program. And then Mariner comes in with all of the Kirk stuff and all of like the gung-ho stuff and the what makes Star Trek fun and the stuff that doesn't make sense, and then merged it together into one holodeck program. Like, it's got to be deliberate, but whether it's deliberate or not, that program is a great metaphor for like what Star Trek is, what the Star Trek fandom is like. It's so clever.
And there's a swell when Mariner goes into what used to be called 10 Forward and with Tendi and they're
it's still 10 Forward.
And they're like squaring off against their opponents, and ears are ripped off and Borg heads are thrown and a massive like phaser cannon thing is there. That and there's blood spatter on the wall. That is where the show is like the crescendo of Mariner is letting her murder flag fly.
Yeah,
and
she is doing some work.
And we are seeing how her friends are interacting with that. And Tendi is the only one to really see it. And I wonder if that's ever going to kind of come up again, because Mariner faces her mom, Mariner faces herself, and there's a somewhat of a resolution there. At least, by the end, she's feeling like she got all of it out, sort of like after you visit one of those spaces where you can throw axes, break things, chainsaw stuff, and get all your like actual physical anger and frustrations out. So like she got to do that by killing people and trying to kill her own mother and trying to kill herself. And is the show going to leave that and just be like, yeah, it's a thing that happened once, we're just never going to talk about it again? Or do we get to resolve that we all saw her murder fantasy?
I will say there is a follow-up episode to this one in a future season. I can't remember specifically if Tendi ever comes to terms with that, because it's the number one question I like kind of have philosophically from this episode. Tendi reaches her point, and like her point is really the ear, because for Bajorans, the ear is like the center of where they're like, it sounds odd to pick the ear, but the ear is like the center of their pa, and which is like their spirit, their soul, and touching the ear to sense their like kind of how deep their spiritualism is a big part of their culture. That's why they have the earring on that side as well. So to still have the earring and the ear and then all of the blood and everything and their crew, that's where Tendi's like, I don't care if this is fake, I'm gonna leave. But then that leaves me with the question of like, is it wrong because it's fake, or is it just as bad even though it's fake? Like, yeah, she can say like, I can program whoever I want. It's just photons. It's like tearing up a picture. I'm shooting a hologram. I'm doodling on a picture. It's the same thing, but this is 3-dimensional and it has the personality added to it. But that's obviously too far for Tendi. But for Mariner, it's like, that doesn't matter. It's a hologram. This is therapy. It's fine. And I love that question of how would we treat holodecks if they were real? Like, where would be the lines? What would be the stuff that wasn't allowed to? What were the lines that you're not allowed to cross?
Right.
Because
Or-
Mariner's crossing all
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah. Like if you told your friend that you wanted to go on a serial killer murder spree and not get caught,
Yeah, is that
And set
okay?
up
Or do you
something
call
in-
security?
right? And that's the kind of the question that this one sort of poses at the end is this is part of her therapy was not just like experiencing a day in the ship and saying whatever she wants to her mother and the crew. It was killing everyone,
Yeah.
you know? And so that to me is an interesting kind of thing to go, oh, this is like when you're creating a Dungeons and Dragons character and you're supposed to give them a weakness so that there's a temptation of something in the game. And so sometimes it's something like they have a table of things you can choose from, or you can invent your own.
Yeah.
But I had a great campaign with somebody and she was playing a character that had bladder control problems was what she decided hers was. And so whenever she laughed, she had to like go pee. So it really made the campaign slow down because anytime that she'd get the giggle, she's like, I gotta go. And so we literally would have to like role play that we're just standing around for this fucking dwarf to come back from pissing. And that's fun. A lot of times it's things like, when I see something that is a gold goblet, I cannot help but steal it. And so then that forces you to go do something outside of your comfort zone in this role play world where you can kind of do whatever you want. To give Mariner a murder, we've already seen her really like be battle heavy, and we've seen her do very questionable things. The show starts off with her, doing this coup with this with this planet where she decides that she knows best and she overthrows a government. So we know she's in the gray, but now we also know that in her therapy, she can't sit with somebody and talk. She needs to physically feel the adrenaline of fighting and eliminating what's in front of her. And I think where the line is for me is how often someone returns to that and what the actual desire is. So
yeah, it's not going to be fixed in one session, whether it's on the holodeck or it's with Dr. Miggly Moo in his office.
Yeah.
But like finding a method that works for you is important, but you got to stick at it. It's not all going to be fixed by the end of one episode.
Yeah. And like I like to play video games. I like playing Halo back in the day, or like Call of Duty, things like that. So, there is something about me playing a video game but it's different if the person was like my crew, the people that I'm working with and I have relationship with. And I think there's like a disassociation that this character has to consequence. And I'm kind of fascinated by this silly cartoon forcing me to kind of go, wow, here's this person who's so disassociated with the people that are around her that this is a simulation that it's as if she's on the Great British Bake Show or something, and she's fine. She isn't.
Yeah.
It's not bothering her, and there wasn't really a moral question that came in for her. Almost at any point, her moral question came when her own version of herself killed herself and sacrificed herself for her mother. That was her moral moment. And it was after she left that she had the revelation, not even
It's
in that
so
kind
clever.
of exchange. So to me, is it bad? What would we do? I think it depends on where your morals are in that space. If it's just like, hey, I want to go murder people because I need to understand the hunt for this murderer, and you're like dextering or something like that. Like maybe that's sort of in an interesting way, more understandable than somebody who is just living out their darkest fantasies because they can't do it in real life to get caught. And so what a weird thing to be thinking about, but we watched her kill so many people.
Yeah, we really did.
How do we not talk about that?
Yeah, we really did. So talking about Mariner coming face to face with herself as a resolution, because that's really where the resolution lies, is she's literally fighting against herself now. How did that work out for you? Did that hit right?
Loved it.
Nice.
I really loved it. I didn't see it coming. And I don't know why I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, she's the only one missing.
Well, she's not.
Oh, well, no, because Tendi and Rutherford are missing as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
So it's definitely a plot convenient moment, but it works so well.
It's perfect. It's
on
perfectly
so many
written.
different levels.
Yeah. Go on. Well, my favorite line that comes out of it is Because throughout the entire holodeck program, she has programmed herself to be Vindicta. She is the villain of the movie. And she says, why are you always making me out to be the bad guy? When she's shouting at her mum. And then real Mariner, fake Mariner comes in. And it's great because she's like, they're not making you the bad guy. You make yourself the bad guy. And like, if there's like a one-line breakthrough therapy moment that happens, I think it's that. She kind of realizes that, oh, I'm alienating people. Like, I'm doing this. And Mariner, holographic Mariner, gets to articulate, it's not that I hate these people. I hate the rules. Like, they keep trying to put me in a box, but I get it, but I'm never going to like it. But that doesn't mean I don't enjoy working with these people and I don't like them.
Yeah. Her talking to herself was interesting because as her actual person, she was saying the truth. You know, she was speaking the truth. And then her double kind of also spoke another deeper kind of level of the truth to her. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if I think if you really were a badass, you'd do the right thing. They're not casting you as a villain. You are.
Yeah, that was I love that.
That was one of the sections of lines. There was a lot of kind of good dialogue with herself at that point. But when she said, if you really were a badass, you would be doing the right thing. She said that as herself talking to her double. That wasn't something that her double said to her. But I thought it was a really, really clever moment to have there be a line where, like, if hologram Beckett didn't show up, Beckett. No, Mariner. If hologram...
Yeah, Beckett Mariner.
Okay. Yeah, oof.
Beckett's her first name.
If there was a moment, if she didn't show up, hologram her did not show up, I think that real Mariner would have killed her mother. Do you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because, like, if there's one thing that's really, really clear, her mother is the wrong person to help her. And this is true in, like, real life as well. Like, her mum is the source of so much of this angst as the starship captain who like has to follow all of the rules. She's embodying so much of what Starfleet is. She's her commanding officer. She's the one trying to put her in a box. She can't also be the person that helps her understand why the box is so damaging to her. So yeah, I think she would have absolutely killed her own mother in the program to finally be free, even if that's not what the heart of the problem really is, which is why it's so clever to bring in herself.
Yeah.
Because I think Mariner's the only person that Mariner is going to respect to talk to about these issues.
Yeah. In the chat, there was a comment, maybe they are writing her as a sociopath that is not evil. And I think that's absolutely true.
Yeah, there is a difference as well. Yeah.
Because Mariner versus Mariner is like, oh, I'll pay attention to you because I respect you. And the show does another interesting fold in as well, because the Mariner leaves and she's like, that therapy worked for me. And she's kind of back to her normal, happy, we're going to go hang out self. And when she fist bumps mom in the hallway in a casual way, it sends mom into a cycle.
I love that so much.
I do too, because it shows the generational aspect of why one person can kind of become what they are through influence. And so, that really got to Captain Freeman. She goes to therapy and she's like, there cannot just be a fist bump. You have to tell me more what's going on. So
she's part of the problem as well, because she doesn't believe that Mariner is capable of changing or capable of being sincere. Like, her mind isn't open to it as well. So it's so clever. Like, it could be sin for like dismissing therapy, but it's really not. It's just kind of acknowledging that therapy works for different people in different ways. So it's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's so clever.
It's a really, really good episode. There's a lot of aspects to this episode that make it funny and engaging. It's an action adventure, so that's fun. We get to see through this holodeck movie experience that there's this like invasion going on. There's can we talk about Rutherford?
Oh yeah, Rutherford has an amazing moment. He just like,
sweet guy.
Do you continue to just love him so much?
Ugh. I really, really do. There's such a sweet innocence to his adoration of engineering.
Yeah, there really is. You walk around here like you're the best engineer in the fleet. I want to tell you that you are. It's so sweet.
I think everyone, maybe not everyone, I think that in general, when they wrote the line for Rutherford to go and confront his boss and say things that he can't say in person, the major assumption is, of course, going to be that he has something negative to say, since there won't be any consequences. But
especially the nice guys, because the nice characters, there's always this suspicion that they're holding back. And like Mariner, will just say it as it is. But if Rutherford had a complaint, he'd kind of bottle it. He would kind of just, I'll just put that to one side and die to myself rather than confront somebody with this.
And similarly, there are people that if you could say to them what you think about them in a positive way, or in sort of like a fangirl, fanboying kind of way, you would hesitate, or you wouldn't, because it might be a little uncomfortable in a different way, or in a very similar way. And so we got to see the fan version of it. So that was kind of a nice, refreshing beat to this episode, where we're juxtaposed to people being exploded.
Because it's the other side of the coin as well. You can use that as because some people are really uncomfortable saying nice things and giving compliments, because compliments can make people feel uncomfortable. There's also this thing where it can be seen as weakness. If you say well done, then people suddenly, I have now been approved, therefore I can stop doing the job well done, because I have been my work has been noticed and I can now slack off. So there's not just like going to the holodeck to blow off steam and kill everyone. There's going to the holodeck to say the really sincere things and the emotional stuff that's hard to say as well. So it's another clever. I'm probably reading way too much into this, but I have to believe that it's there for a reason. That this is another form of therapy for Rutherford, who can just say the really nice things he wants to say without consequences.
It's also interesting that this episode gives us this framework that the holodeck is as close to recreating a personality as possible, which we saw with Geordi in the past, and it was a little uncomfortable for some.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's very similar to that, actually. And so there's more of an incentive, I think, from Rutherford's perspective to kind of feel out what that might look like.
Yeah.
And inside the simulation, they end up deciding to go off together and just live their life happy, just
happy engineers
fixing warp cores at their own leisure. And that is so cute. And Godspeed you crazy fucks was spoken. And that was so great. I love that line so much.
So much. It's so great.
And then in the real life, though, you see what happens when he hesitates to go and engage with this person that he respects. And his version is that Billip is eating soup alone, and this badass who doesn't need to be interrupted.
Yeah.
Whereas someone else might see it as somebody who's lonely and just eating soup, and might enjoy having someone come over and tell them that they're amazing at what they do. So
might just need that boost.
They might need that boost, but it's such a fun, like, fantasy versus reality moment where their story is so cute inside the simulation.
Yeah, it's so fun.
I really, really loved that. And then of course we have the Boimler part of this episode, which was just like a sparkling gem for me. How did it work for you for Boimler this episode?
Oh, it's perfect Boimler. It's exactly what he would do to game the system. Like, it's the most like wholesome way that he can game his way into optimizing something. Like, instead of just tapping into himself and what he actually, like, his own skills and what he actually wants to do, he's like, I can't risk allowing me to mess this up by being me, so I'm going to use all of the science that I can and all of the tech available to me. Like, what would you do in the 24th century to prepare for an interview? So Boimler is the perfect vessel for that. And I'm kind of amazed it doesn't work as well as he thought. I think if he hadn't interrupted everyone else's holodeck time and just done this on his own, it would have worked perfectly.
Yeah, 100%. This is, as usual, Boimler's fault.
Absolutely. But it does introduce some like hilarious moments when Ransom's on the verge of dying. Yes. And he's just like, quick, tell me what Captain's allergic to with your
and
dying
then
breath.
he dies, and no. So we've spoken many times about this inability to relate to Star Trek's casualness, to the intensity of these battles, these missions, putting themselves into these situations that are just, to us, absolutely batshit crazy.
Yes.
And Starfleet officers are able to just put it aside and go play poker and make themselves some tea at the end of the day. And it's just a Tuesday for them. We've talked about this when we watch Strange New Worlds or really anything. And in this episode, it's Boimler doing that inside the simulation where Mariner has hacked into his perfect case scenario and has turned it into this, just this insanity.
His nightmare.
And he is the casual guy who, instead of freaking out about what's going on around him, he's keeping a level head because he knows it's a simulation and just going, you know what, I'm going to go with it. This isn't what I wanted, but I'm going to try to siphon information from every single person that I can,
Continue to be the background character that can just get what he needs.
If I could do something in 5 minutes for you, what would that be? And he's just taking all of these notes and constantly looking to, and I loved those beats because
where do you want me to think I'll be in 5 years?
Yes. Just kind of finding a way on screen and asking a question and not at all being alarmed that his friends are doing what his friends are doing. He so quickly let that go and didn't join into their world. He was still trying to get the information out of the program. And what I love about the Boimler character in this episode is it reminded me that this isn't real so many times. Where I was kind of getting sucked into the story
to
enough.
The movie,
yeah, which is great. And I don't want to have to remind myself that it's not real, that Tendi and Mariner aren't killing everyone in the hallways. But when Boimler pops in, it was just that confirmation, oh yeah, there's something else going on here. Oh yeah, there's a whole ship outside that is waiting for them to, their time is up, in the holodeck. And then, of course, the wrap up at the end with him failing his actual interview because he has discovered a secret. And I think that's the next thing we really have to talk about is that if you're watching this season, episode to episode, this is the big one where we get to know how the secret is revealed.
And of course, I totally forgot. This is one of the problems with watching it so many years later. I totally forgot that people don't know about, and we've talked about it this season, but I still forgot that people didn't know. And I wish I could remember how I felt when I watched this the first time, because I have a sneaking suspicion I'd even forgotten back then, because it's to us, it's so obvious that Mariner and Freeman have that mother-daughter antagonistic relationship. It feels really, really obvious, because I don't know how else Mariner would get away with the shit that she does unless the captain was her mother. So seeing Boimler be shocked by it, I was like, oh, that was more shocking than anything. I was like, wait, why is he so surprised? Right. Oh, no, he really doesn't know. Oh, I guess this would be really earth-shattering for him because he's been working with Mariner for well over a year, probably 2 or 3 years by this point. And now he's figuring out the connection and he is burdened with that secret. And of course, we've got the humor beat of Freeman just listing all of the things she would do to the person that knows about it.
Yeah. He I guess the simulation was just running in the background, just taking up a little bit of RAM on the computer, as it does. Yeah. And Boimler goes in and hears her eulogy about her daughter. And what I loved is that there was this very quick transition from him kind of making these awkward anxiety sounds like just uncomfortable whining. And then the uncomfortable whining is the segue into the interview where his knee is just shaking under the desk because he's so nervous and he's just and he's sweating. And I felt it in that moment. He's going to have diarrhea for days after that.
It's interesting to see how he deals with it in the next episode, because that's one of the few cliffhangers that we really have, where we're ending that episode knowing that Boimler can't forget about that. when the next episode comes around. Like, one episode memory isn't going to help with this. Like, he has to deal with the fact that he knows Mariner's secret and Freeman's secret. Yeah, it was interesting to leave that there.
There was a when holodeck Mariner was talking to our Mariner, death happy Mariner. She was saying, like, our mom is keeping us here to protect us in her own way. And sometimes when you're writing a show and you're kind of nearing the end of your series is when you begin to telegraph more of what you want to make sure the audience understands. And that was another really juicy moment, I feel, for
I love that.
Understanding the character of, because I don't like Captain Freeman very much. That's no secret. But in her own way, this is her protecting Mariner. And there was also a line that was about if Captain Freeman wasn't keeping Mariner on the ship, that she really doesn't have anywhere else to go. And I believe that's because at this point in her story, she's burned a lot of bridges. And so this is sort of it. And so in a way, her mom is attempting to kind of help her stay on course and give her enough time to mature into recognizing that she's good.
Yeah. Let her screw up a bit more.
Sorry, that was the other thing she said to herself, was that she just needed to stop being afraid of being a good officer.
Yeah.
And that comes back into play in later seasons as she's continuing to struggle with what it means to become a good officer.
It really helped me contextualize what Freeman was doing and why she's putting up with it. And it's the most sinful part of the episode, but it's really functional to the episode as well. It's the fact that we're dealing with holodeck characters that are based on the real people. Right. So yeah, it's bullshit that Boimler is able to create these people, but what it does for the episode is crucial, because it's a tap into the brains without the kind of like bullshit of how humans can be really random. It's just like, if you give like input into Mariner, this is what the output for Mariner would be. So in a lot of ways, this holographic Mariner is a really reliable narrator for what Mariner is really thinking. So it's great for real Mariner to talk to holodeck Mariner, and it's great for us to see that, because we know there's no like extra fluff. This is the bare bones of Mariner's personality, and deep down she knows what Freeman is doing. So it's one of the sins I would probably end up turning into a sin removal, because yes, it's bullshit, but also it's so functional to the episode. It's so important.
It's a very on the nose version of looking at yourself in the mirror and being really honest.
Yeah.
And what I appreciated about the Mariner conversation was that they were just being very honest. It wasn't, they didn't spend a lot of time going, "You're lying, I never think that." It was just raw honesty, which can be very humorous, and it can be very uncomfortable to watch at times. But yeah, I think where we end at the end of this episode, or where we kind of land, is that we were given more of a view as to what the A crew is. We've given more of a view of what our lower decks crew is. The secret is out. Mariner feels some sort of release, and so, you know, maybe she's not going to be as batshit crazy anymore. Spoiler alert, she will. And and we learn a little bit more about Tendi, you know, that she's 5 years removed from her pirating.
Well, some Orions are 5 years removed. Tendi might be more or less.
I think she was talking about herself. Pretty confident.
Well, it's the last bit of the episode I wanted to talk about, other than going through some of my favorite references.
Yes, I want to know
Tendi tackling the Orion stereotype, because having an Orion on board was really, really fun, because I was like, oh, this is like seeing Worf on the Enterprise D, because in the first season of TNG, because you're like, hey, what happened with the Klingons then? That means that we have a Klingon, the biggest enemy of the original series, now serving on the Enterprise, and the Orions haven't been seen throughout the entirety of TNG. So it's like, what happened now to mean that an Orion is on board? So it's really fun to see Tendi address the stereotype of Orions being pirates and thieves, and the fact that that's still a thing, but there's an amount of them that are trying to move away from that as well. And it's like the Ferengis in Deep Space Nine. Like, how do we end up sympathizing with Quark when the Ferengis have always been presented as the bad guys? So I'm so glad we managed to get into that in season 1 as well with Tendi.
Me too. Overall, really, really fun. But as mentioned, I missed a ton of references.
Oh, so yeah, So
just go off because I'm honestly, you're talking to the podcast audience at this point, not me, because I'm gonna be a little bit like, okay, whatever.
Oh, and I will absolutely have missed some as well. But it starts off just running out of the gates with the credits. I died when Mariner is finished like reprogramming everything. And they've just got the complete spacey backdrop, and then suddenly the TNG credits come on, and I'm like, oh, they can see the credits, and then it bonks Boimler on the head when it runs to the screen. I died. It's so funny because the credits hit him on the head, and they keep whooshing past his head, and that is obviously a nod to, I think, every Star Trek movie other than the J.J. Abrams ones, the new ones. They start with 17 hours of credits. Like, the Sins video for it is like 6 minutes of credits that do nothing for no one. And it is just the entire cast against a score, which is what saves it, because you always have this incredible score. But it is a lot of space, a lot of credits, and then into the movie. So there's definitely a nod to that there. They're arguing about how which character Boimler is going to be, and Mariner says you're a bit of a Zon, which might be the deepest cut of the entire season, because the reason Boimler is a bit of a Zon is because Boimler is getting written out of this movie, and Zon was a character that never came to be. After the original series finished, but before they decided to go into movies, there was going to be a TV show called Star Trek Phase 2. And this was like the continued mission of the Enterprise, but with a new crew on board. And Zon was going to be a new Spock, basically. He was going to be a Vulcan. But in like the screen test, like this went as far as like casting and screen testing and building the ship, building a new Enterprise. It was so close to being a Star Trek show, and most of it got repurposed and used as the motion picture. But yeah, Zon had like longer hair, and he was just like this complicated Vulcan that was going to replace Spock that we never got to see, and he never made it to screen. So it just like to reference Phase 2 is just like insanely deepest cut. I love it so much. Which leads on to paragraph 3 of this essay, which is the music. Just the score from The Wrath of Khan. That's the which is playing a lot when they go around the ship. It's one of the best Star Trek movie scores. It's incredible. And like the fact they weave it into the Lower Decks theme a little bit, but the fact that they didn't even like worry about creating their own score, they were just like, everyone loves Wrath of Khan, we're just going to use that score. So we'll just plonk it in there for this movie. And it's just, it feels cheaty because it's using something that they didn't make, that they didn't use, that they know is really popular, but I don't care. It's great. Use it. Keep using it. The Mission Impossible theme keeps using that same theme. Why? Because it's fucking great. So keep bringing back the Wrath of Khan score. So much fun. Jumping around a bit, we have a couple of references to having rickety bridges to fight on. In Generations, there's this huge rickety bridge that Kirk and Picard and the bad guy Soren fight on. There's a bridge that Riker and a Riemann fight on. For some reason, Star Trek and Star Wars likes rickety bridges, and that's just what you have to put into a finale, of course. Mariner is buried in rocks, which is a reference to the end of Generations, where a certain captain is buried under some rocks as well. The entire crash sequence for the Cerritos is a nod to Generations as well, including the saucer section. What's amazing is that the Enterprise D saucer section hits the ground and then kind of like just buries itself into like forest.
Yeah,
but
like
the
skates.
Cerritos is on its side and it rolls along like a coin. There's only two ways that the saucer section can crash. It's either belly or on its side rolling like a ball, and that just cracked me up, like that choice to do that. What else have we got? We got the signatures at the very end of the episode. At the end of Star Trek 6, all of the cast signed their signatures, and that's what comes up because they knew that was going to be the last Kirk movie. And they almost did it at the end of season 3 of Picard, where they had the entire TNG cast do their signatures as well. But I can't remember what the reason was, but they didn't end up doing it. I think probably because they wanted to leave the door open to these characters coming back at some point. So I think they hedged their bets a bit. Deep breath. What else have we got? I think.
Is Mariner dressed as somebody specific? Is that like a call to something?
No, it's just a bad guy thing. She's just dressed in black. But
the one reference I'd be like, that was a reference, right? Is not actually a reference. Great.
Sorry. But the fact that she's talking about literary quotes and she's a bad guy on a Klingon ship, so presumably a Klingon of some sort, and is quoting Earth literature is always funny as well because what's his name? The bad guy in the Undiscovered Country, whose name I cannot remember. But anyway, he quotes a lot of Shakespeare as well. And we've got just Rutherford giving a general nod to technology just doing whatever it wants to do in Star Trek movies. Billup saying transporters don't work like that, and Rutherford just like, it's a movie. The transporters can do whatever you want them to do in the movie. It's fine. So a lot of rules get bent when you get into the movies, and a lot of technology can suddenly do things that you didn't realize it could do. Oh my goodness! Let me quickly check my list. There's a different aspect ratio to make it look like a movie, which is fun, and you have like a more grainy filter as well to make it look more movie-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I think that's it. Give us some pips, Ambassador, now that I finished being a nerd.
Oof, phew, 4 pips.
I've
all
never
the pips.
finished. 4 pips. Yeah, I'll give it 4 pips as well. It's pretty perfect. It's so much fun. Yeah, references plus actual story plus moral center that makes sense, and I buy it. I love it. Let's head over to engineering to do some sinning. Red alarm.
Warning. Warp core collapse in 10 seconds.
Red alarm. Red alarm.
So quiet.
I know, that one I've got to mess around with. I'm sorry.
Gotta mess around with that, man.
I got to mess around with it. This is the part of the show where we re-engage our sin brains and remind ourselves that no TV shows without sin, even our beloved Lower Decks. Ambassador, you can go first.
Okay. Why is the arch always where the arch needs to be when somebody wants to leave the holodeck?
Why not? Well, it's not always. So it depends.
Okay, never mind. My sin immediately doesn't count, but go ahead, fanboy.
No, it does. I think
No.
So it's fair. You're always in a square room. So physically, let's say the room is like 6 meters by 6 meters. So it's always going to be close to you because the arch is a physical thing, even though it's not going to put it on the horizon because the horizon is still only like 6 meters away. So it has to be close. There's no point putting it in engineering if you're in 10 forward. The holodeck isn't going to make you walk to it, I guess. Argue. I might be wrong here. I might be wrong.
Nope. I'm not arguing with you. But in the very limited ones that I have had, when it's computer arch time, they turn and they take 2 steps and they're out of the room.
Okay. So
Anyway.
in TNG, it is a little bit further away. I think in Lower Decks, you're probably right. It may be like literally right in front of them rather than on a wall or something. I love talking about holodecks. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
How was Mariner even allowed onto the planet to pull off this insane rescue of the lizard people that are being eaten by the rat people, which is also a reference. But how did Mariner pull this off? Why was she allowed to beam down to the planet on her own? Like, it's just the shit that had to go down for her to actually wreck these people. I want to see that episode as well.
Send from the chat from Sarah. At the beginning on the rat and lizard planet, Freeman says Cerritos want to beam up, and they just know to beam up Mariner.
Oh, that's interesting.
That written too, but I did not write it as succinctly. So, well,
it would have been hilarious if Freeman gets beamed up and she's like, "No, I meant Mariner."
Would have been great.
We didn't specify that, Captain. Damn it, beam me back down. That was absolutely something Lower Decks would do. Sinning Boimler being a dick and just walking into the holodeck saying, "Hey, I need to use this room," change the program immediately. Like, they were mid-program. They were messing around with Da Vinci.
Yeah, I had that written down as well because he says,
Rude.
"Hey guys, can I use this room?" And they don't answer, and he just overrides the programming, and then they leave. So, yeah.
Oh, you'll like this. Da Vinci was also a reference because Janeway goes to the holodeck and spends time with Da Vinci in his holographic version of Da Vinci in his workroom. And she uses him as a bit of therapy. And the Da Vinci in Voyager is played by Jonathan Rhys-Davies, who is Gimli.
There you go.
Lord of the Rings.
I love this one from chat from Wandering Sin. Warp me. I agree.
Yeah, I don't like, and I think
So
it's meant to
funny.
be deliberately cringe.
So funny.
but-
Oh yeah, it's supposed to be cringe, but it was just really funny because it's like warp me.
Warp me. You don't need a thing.
Good shit.
I would send the delayed dissolving of Ransom. When Mariner is shooting people and they get dissolved, it happens pretty immediately. But because Ransom has some dying last words, his dissolving takes a little bit longer.
I'm gonna sim the Cerritos saying, "Warning: the ship has crashed." That is knowledge that no one needs to be told.
It's fair. Yeah, it's absolutely fair. Some things don't need to be programmed. Obviously, the biggest sin of the episode is Boimler having access to all of the logs, the reports, all of the information, and being able to synthesize that without consent into a program. Like, I imagine there would be like a huge power drain to create all of that, and just that he has the access and that it works so perfectly as well. It's needed for the episode, but it's insane.
Here's another one, but this is a sin removal for Boimler dotting his I's with a Starfleet Delta. I totally missed that.
Love that.
Thank you, Wondering, for that one.
With a signature at the end. I love that so much. There was another sin removal I really liked.
While you look for that, do you want me to tell you my next sin?
Yeah, go for it.
So in the simulation, Beckett shows up and beams her mother away so she can fight Mariner v. Mariner. And then we cut out to what's happening outside the ship where, Rutherford has beamed everyone out. And so all the fake people are safe or whatever. And Captain Freeman is just kind of standing there talking about cookies and an attempted assassination attempt via chocolate. Instead of being like, "We've got to get back on the ship and save my daughter." I just found that really confusing. Like, Captain Freeman has been beamed off of her ship and her daughter is fighting someone to the death. And when it cuts to her, she's just like casually making sure that everyone's okay instead of going, "We got to get back in there and save her." So that was a little off for me.
Yeah.
Even though she was a simulation.
I can get that.
I think that because it was based on her actual person, she either doesn't give a shit or that was really weird.
She really should. She really should give a shit. And like that funeral at the end is very like, she's okay. Like she's past the grief. She's past the anger. She's jumped straight to acceptance of, I loved serving with my daughter, even though she died maybe 6 minutes ago.
Yeah.
What else? There was something else that I had that's jumped out of my brain, which is
gone for good.
Nope, it's gonna come back. It's gonna come back.
It will after the show.
Nope, it's gonna come back. It was about Mariner. It comes back to how much Mariner is allowed to get away with and how they're able to keep the mother-daughter secret. Like, there is a huge conflict of interest there. And if Freeman is keeping her safe and keeping her, like, giving her more, like, leeway and more latitude because she's her daughter, it's just like nepotism, people. It's never okay. Like, what if some random ensign went down and started freeing the rat people, the lizard people from the... Wait, which way round is it?
Rat
freeing
people.
the lizard people from the rat people. That's what they are. They wouldn't be getting the same amount of latitude. I think there'd be like court martials all over the place. So it just kind of reaffirms this. Freeman's like such a dick, and Starfleet is a dick for letting this happen as well. It's really tricky. Everyone's a dick, but it's the Sarita, so I guess you just get away with it.
Here's a prime directive sin from Wandering that says Freeman reprimands Mariner for breaking the prime directive, but then immediately turns around and barters food replicators to the lizards so that they'll stop eating the rats in a horrible breaking of the prime directive.
Well, yeah, because the prime directive is chiefly about not getting involved with the natural development of a species, especially when their technology is so far behind you. So pick and choosing that is really weird. Like, giving them replicators is still interfering with them if they no longer need to eat the lizards. Because what if that means, I guess we'll just kill all the lizards then. Since we don't need them for food, we'll just murder them instead. Like, that's exactly why the prime directive is there. But I like to think that it's also a nod to Deep Space Nine and how, like, the Federation wouldn't interfere when the Cardassians they've invaded Bajor and they are just like using all of the Bajorans as slaves. But when the Cardassians leave, the Federation is happy to turn up and say, by the way, could we have access to your space station if we give you some help with some food now that the Cardassians are out of here? And they just kind of hid behind the prime directive as why they didn't interfere. So, yeah, we could have like I've said this before, we could have an entire series dedicated to the prime directive and just the interpretations and how it is used, abused, misused, etc.
And if you would like to apply to join the show for those episodes so that I don't have to be here for them, please send your application to captainspod@cinemasins.com. That is captainspod@cinemasins. Include your resume, your Star Trek resume, and a brief synopsis of what some of your most interesting points might be. And also, please include a little bit of audio so that we can hear how good your microphone is. And I will gladly just take a nice, big, old, fat fucking step backwards for that one. Thank you.
Yeah. If anybody also wants to be verbally present while I list all of the references that I enjoyed, there is a vacancy available there.
Yeah, it's a vacancy in my brain. I was like, literally was like, I felt myself being beamed out of myself.
The references!
Glazed over.
That's fine.
I want to do one more sin from Wandering. So many good references all in the live chat. Thank you guys so much. This one was very a good catch, in my opinion. Tendi leaves the holodeck and is still in costume, but she didn't enter the holodeck in costume. Where did the costume come from? Well, I think it's because at the very beginning, right as the credits were rolling, she says, hey guys, let's go get in costume. And they exit stage right. So they actually say, let's go get in costume. My sin was, how do you get in costume in the holodeck? Doesn't it just like they just beam your clothes onto you? But I think that pairs up with this sin observation, which is that I think they actually left the holodeck, changed, and came back.
I think you could also, I think that's exactly what happened. But you could also replicate physical clothing. Like, their uniforms are replicated. When they beam down to the planet, the transporter will also beam replicated clothes onto them. So you can have physical things that are replicated on the holodeck that could leave. This does remind me of my sin removal, which I was giddy when this happened. It's when Tendi gets pissed off, she leaves the holodeck, and I'm like, I bet that fucking blood is gonna... The blood disappeared! As soon as she leaves the holodeck, the holographic blood disappears from her body, which is one of the biggest nitpicks. Like, Wesley throws a snowball off the holodeck and it hits Captain Picard and he catches a cold because of a holographic snowball, and it's bullshit. And just things like blood should stay on the holodeck. Sin removal. Well done, Lower Decks.
Man, live chat's already sending in their applications for this show. You're going to have a
stop
little
it.
one-off series of episodes where you get to just like fucking nerd out with these amazing Star
Do
Trek
it.
people.
There's a show there actually, just like one episode at a time, just nerding out with anybody, any fan of Star Trek that just wants to have a platform to nerd out about their favorite thing about Star Trek. That's a
Hell yeah.
hey. I need to take that out of the podcast because that's a really good idea.
Well, that could be this podcast. Why couldn't it be something that you do as a one-off series? Why
Yeah,
couldn't that be a
exactly.
season of the show?
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone in the live chat, your presence here is NDA. I don't know if you realize that, but just by being here, it is not.
It is not.
Oh shit, we're actually still in the show. We're not just talking about stuff. Okay, that's all. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty more sins, but that's all the sins I care to talk about because this is such a fun episode. I do want to give, next week is our last episode covering Lower Decks Season 5. That was weird. Hasn't even happened yet. Next week is the last episode of Season 1, which is called No Small Parts, which means the week after that, we will be heading into a new season of Captain's Pod before we do season 5 of Lower Decks Live. And I wanted to let you guys know that the season will be some of the darkest episodes of Star Trek, so that we have a little bit of a theme, emotional shift away from the silliness of Lower Decks and
it's
into
kind
some
of
really
weird.
dark Star Trek.
Yeah. Isn't it strange to call Dark Trek a palate cleanser? But it is.
Yeah. It absolutely is. We're going to be starting with we're going to be starting with a two-parter, which I was given so much shit for omitting, rightfully so. And this will be Deep Space Nine past tense, which takes place during the Bell riots of 2024. So we would be amiss if we did not cover the Bell riots and past tense during the year of our Lord 2024. So next week will be season 1, episode 10, No Small Parts. After that will be past tense, part 1 of Deep Space Nine. Until next week, if you want to send us an email or get in touch with us, as the ambassador said, it's captainspod@cinemasins.com. You can also join our lovely Star Trek community on Discord, discord.gg/cinemasins. Just finding my quote. Okay, I've got it. And until next week, thank you for joining us. I'm Captain Ian, and I love my captain, and I don't want to be doing this. I am Shampoo.
And it's take
From
down
me.
the captain and have tacos from me.
Live long and bod spa.
Oh, doggy, 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 doggy.
Oh my gosh, the animal, I would say it's abuse, but he loves it.
He's my bubble. Look at him, his little face. It's so cute.
Can't see his
Oh,
face.
So cute. Look at you.
I love that,
Oh,
Nick.
Reese's wants some.
Okay, Reese, it's your turn. Come on. Time for your
Hey,
animal
buddy.
abuse. Oh, you good to go. He's my pupperdo. This is my little pupperdo. He's so cute.
Hi. You're so close now. Oh, he's plopped down. He's here for the rest of the day. Ian's gone.
Good to know. Ian's back. So, live show. I know that I said it was going to
did.
be. I know,
You
but
did? What
yeah,
happened?
I said that it would be. What was it? In the Pale Moonlight.
Yeah.
But my logic is, if we do past tense first, that's what we were going to do anyway because we want to do it in 2024. It also gives you like 2 Cisco heavy episodes because one of the concerns from the live chat was In the Pale Moonlight is great, but it works even more if you have more like kind of appreciation for Cisco as well. So past tense is a very moral Cisco standing for what is.
we have how many episodes between? We have 4. Is it 4 episodes? Or?
I think we have 4 or 5. So we're going to do In the Pale Moonlight, but we're doing past tense first.
So it's Deep Space Nine, Deep Space Nine, Deep Space Nine.
Hell yeah! And then I think we'll do something from Voyager or TNG for the end.
We might as well just stay in Deep Space Nine and just do.
We can just stay in Deep Space Nine. It is dark.
Dark, terrible Deep Space Nine stories. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not. I'm nervous.
Okay, so it's October 24th is when Lower Decks comes back, which means we'll record that episode on Friday. So we have got the 18th, the 11th, the 4th. So that's 3 episodes.
Question: Moopsy versus Tendy the Thing Dog. We decided it would be Tendy the Thing Dog. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, it's actually going to be. It's only going to be 3 episodes, so it'll be past tense, and then In the Pale Moonlight. But that's cool. That's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine, everybody.
It's going to be good. We have to do the Bell Riots in 2024. We can't not do it.
We can't not. Or we can't not.
We can't not do it.
We can't not. All right. What do we want to do next?
Talk to the chat.
Oh, whoa. Hello, phone. I will be right back. You guys hang. More TOS. I know, right?
I would love to. We will be doing more TOS. We just got to get through some live Star Trek first.
Quick question from Slab 2 about this. So why don't you...
2 episodes dropped for... for crying out loud. Why do they do this to me? Yeah, we'll do both episodes at once, but we'll do them... Oh, I hate doing that, though. I like there to be 1 episode in the feed. I'm pretty sure we can't record an extra episode that week as well, because I know how busy that month is going to be. So, yeah, I think we'll do both of them in 1 week, and it will just be, hey guys, listen to this. Yeah, unless you get screeners ahead of time and you like just play along with the embargo, it's a pain in the ass. But it's fine. We'll do both at once. It's okay. It's a little easier to take than doing like 2 hours of disco in 1 episode. So yeah, I think we'll just put it in 1 podcast. You guys will be fine with that, I'm sure. It's so annoying. I also don't want to be a week behind because that's a pain in the bottom too. You always feel like a bit out of the loop. On a related note, can you try to get screeners and share them with me? I'm such a dumbass. I haven't tried. Like, I genuinely haven't tried. So I'm sure I can apply for that. Or something, and I will see. But nowadays, like, they get so sneaky about like leaks and stuff like that. That is a very complicated question, Nick, and a very valid one as well. Like I said, they're very selective about leaks and stuff. But to be honest, I haven't applied on behalf of Captain's Pod, so it's definitely something I will add to my notes and make sure that I do. I'm going to add that to my notes right now. Can I get screeners to get sneaky Star Trek content early?
I don't know why not.
Yeah, exactly. I can try. I don't even know what the application process would be like, but I will try.
Dear Star Trek people, we like you, you like me. We have people listen. Thank you.
Please listen, send me things early. I promise not to spoil. But we just...
I will sign you.
Slab and Nick brought up a great point that Lower Deck Season 5 does Episode 1 and 2 at the same time. So I think what we'll do is just lump those into 1 episode because they're 20 minutes each. We'll just do 1 episode covering both so that we don't end up a week behind.
I don't know. So like, and I know you guys are used to us building our show together as a community. Mm-hmm. But to me, it seems strange to do 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Of like the harder, deeper stuff, and then just jumping right back into Lower Decks. Like, I think it would just make sense.
Oh,
Just,
okay.
do you know, like just take like a little break and then jump into it? Because there's no space in between.
We could do that. We could take a 3-week break.
We could take a 3-week break.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know. I know I know what they're gonna say.
Oh, no one's going to like that idea.
No one's gonna like that idea at all.
I know what you mean. 3 episodes isn't very much to really get into a theme.
Yeah.
This is true. There is so much space. It's all in space.
It's all. Please stay. What if we just gamed on Fridays?
Could. Yeah. Just do a little gaming stream.
I don't like breaks, says Link. Oh, a mailbag episode. There you go.
Could do that. Could do a mailbag. Oh my gosh. They hate you.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing is I can edit around that if we want to change our minds.
If you take a break, if you want to take a break after past tense, that would be okay. Maybe do past tense part 1 and 2 as one episode and then take a few weeks off. But then we're not releasing alongside the live show Lore Decks. So.
Wait, what? Yes,
Right?
we would.
We would? We would? We
Yeah.
have 1 week. 1 week?
No, we would do 1 week when we finish Lower Decks. Next week, the week after that, do past tense, and then have 2 weeks off.
Oh, I see. Do past tense, then do Minecraft and Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, there we go.
I don't know. I don't know, everybody.
Yeah, past tense is one. Doing an hour and a half in one episode is quite a lot.
Yeah.
Well, something to think about. You're right. Just 3 episodes for that doesn't feel. Just feel a bit.
It was always going to be a little bit
Cramped.
fast.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
We could do Darkest Trek after season 5, which gives us a bit more time to dive into it.
Yeah. Thanks, Wandering. Oh, yeah, this is it. Let's change the entire podcast into a Sliders Rewatch podcast.
I mean, there's rewatch, and then there would just be watching it for me because I've never seen it.
I haven't either.
We should The Princess Bride. That's what we should do.
Oh my God, that's what Wandering just
Oh,
said.
yay!
That's
There,
so
we should.
funny. Do 3 horrible episodes. Do past tense as 2 episodes and take 1 week off.
We could.
Yeah. So the answer is we don't know. The answer is that we're not going to figure it out right here, right now. I think we got to kind of.
You guys get to see a little behind the scenes brainstorming that we do.
Yeah, the introduction of like a 2-parter is like, okay, so that's 2 whole episodes there. And then I think we got to think about what we want to do. I know what you guys want. You want podcasts every day, all day, which is
And we
completely
love you for loving us.
understandable.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching and for sharing us with your friends. I feel like when we ask you to do that, like it does happen because we are seeing just our little community grow, and it's really appreciated.
Yeah.
So thank
And
you
we have
guys
seen
so
some
much.
extra reviews come in on the podcast, Players of Choice as well, which is
Yes.
nice. That's cool. We're
Yes.
going to read out some of those.
And we also will continue to ask you to, like, if you find a website that does podcast mentions, if you comment on the bottom of those with like us as an option, they are read, and that is how people end up being like suggested podcasts and things like that. So
It really is. And if you like search Reddit for like podcast, Star Trek podcasts we should listen to, it's The Greatest Trek. And they're incredible, but it's like 100 posts saying The Greatest Trek. It was like, yeah, I searched for like some other podcasts to listen to, and I was like, yeah, I know about them. Give me some others. Like, variety. But they are incredible. They're great for a reason.
yeah, podcasting. Fucking podcasts. There's just so many of them. All right, I'm gonna show them your Enterprise.
Oh shit, the bed.
You
Okay.
ready?
Yeah.
You want to join me in the world?
Yeah, I'll try and join you in the world.
All right,
Let's move
I've got
some
it. I've
things
got it
around.
open and running in the background. So I'm gonna get this thing set up here. Now you're not gonna be able to hear any of the music because that's just not how this works.
You
For
might
some
be able
reason, it didn't
to.
work that way.
You might be able to through my end, perhaps.
I think if I share my whole screen, but it doesn't matter. We don't.
Oh,
have
you're
to share
sharing.
the
You're
music.
sharing it, aren't you? Yeah, yeah. Well, let's
Or
just
do
see
you-
what happens.
Do you want to? Of course,
No, no.
Breezy. Jump on in.
You could share. Share yours.
Okay. Just tell me when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. You can go for it.
All right, friends. A little surprise. I opened it up in the background, so pop on in, Breezy. Link, wouldn't that be fun again? I missed that. That was so much fun. We actually do need to do it again because
It was so fun.
I need to reconnect my system. I've moved my computer around, things got unplugged, and I need to like set it back up again. So it'd be a good excuse to do that. All right, let's get this where we are. Is this the biggest we can go? What are you talking about, Link? There is no evidence of what I have done. What do you mean? Wandering, yeah, when we're playing, she's Breezy. Yep. Listen to a couple of episodes of Open Pike Night and Mission Log and also the Delta Flyers. That's fun.
Yeah, open pike is fun.
All right. All right, there you are. Here we are. It is nighttime. Let me just go in here and I think the bedroom is in here. This is one of the first worlds we created. This is absolute and utter chaos, by the way. So
I need to carry on with this. It looks so good. It's getting there.
where are the beds in this place? Do you remember? Oh, they're over here. We have a little group bed section.
So, for reference, I started off super blocky and rounding it out. So some of it still looks blocky because it isn't finished yet.
Get to bed, everybody. Get to bed.
Yeah, I'm coming.
Yeah, sorry for the lag. It is loading up. I apologize. Yep, Nick, we are really pushing the system today, which usually is not a struggle for it, but we have a lot of new things that are kind of happening all at the same time. So we'll just go slow. Maybe it'll catch up to us. Okay. Where are you, Ian? Are you on the Enterprise?
Yeah, I'm on it.
There it is.
It's getting there.
I want you guys to see the shadow that this thing casts on the ground.
It blocks out the sun. It is a work in progress.
But did you? No, this is Creative Aids.
Yeah, definitely creative.
Yeah. This is one of the first worlds that we created. It was called Family Island because we wanted to play with Iris. You'll see all kinds of weird stuff. Like we made her a little rail cart system made of lights, and there's underground craziness happening everywhere. The little pink line right there goes into an underwater thing that Jen was working on for a while. So, but this is where the Enterprise is housed, and they yearn for the mines. They do. There's a lot of rules around the Enterprise because of Iris, honestly. Poor Ian has had to ask her to be very careful. But you can get into the ship. I believe
sure
it's right
can.
here.
Yeah.
And I think let's see. Yeah. Let me show you guys what I made to get into the ship. What
Bye,
did you
Slab.
blocked me out? I don't know how to get there anymore. Bye, Slab.
Just punch through that glass. It's fine. Yeah.
Okay. All right, you guys ready? That's one way to get up there, is through this crazy tunnel that I made to get down into the house, so you can fly up the tunnel. This is kind of like being beamed to get up there.
Bring me up to the Enterprise.
And then we get into this gray haven. And eventually I think the idea was that Ian was going to like add details, not these blocks though.
yeah.
Oh,
Like it would eventually have rooms in there as well, because you could walk around it.
Ian, hey.
I can fix it. It's okay. Or not. Maybe we never get back in there.
So we had to add some light so that the monsters would stop spawning in
Yeah.
here. Good night, Sarah. Yeah,
This
the warp
would-
core would be so fun to build.
This would absolutely have a warp core for sure.
Good night, good night.
Bye, Sarah.
And as you can see, we have just doors to places. But Ian was trying to kind of
Just look
basically
inside the saucer section. You could have so much room in there.
It's going to be amazing the more we have time to work on it.
Yeah.
But we have not come back in here to work on it for a very long time.
I really like the nacelles. I think they're really pretty.
So this is not the world that we would show to the Moko made people, because they were asking about a different one. This is one of many. We actually decided recently to stop making new worlds because there's so many interesting things in all these different spots. And we cannot combine them together. But
Sadly, no.
this one is where the Enterprise lives. What do you guys think? It's pretty impressive, right? Look at this red stuff used for the nacelles.
Vroom, vroom, vroom.
You should play the warp core sound. Turn my music down. The bad thing is that this is made out of wool in the game. So
There's a lot of light bleed.
we really, there's a lot of light bleed, unfortunately. So when we build anything in here, we have to probably replace everything with this gray kind of concrete stuff so that the light doesn't come
Internal
through.
wall. Yeah.
Because it will light up like a Christmas tree when the time comes. We also have to be very careful with fire, since this is all made of wool. It'll just
Oh my
burst into
goodness.
flames.
I think we turned the fire spread off. I
Well,
think.
maybe.
I hope so. Don't try it. It'll go up so quick.
Wandering. Instead of making new worlds, you're going to explore strange new worlds. I'll fly out here so you guys can see it from this view one more time. It's pretty cool, honestly.
It's the best I've managed to get the dome, the saucer, to be circular. I think I'd have to make the nacelles should be basically in line with the outer edge of the saucer section. So I actually need to make the star drive section a lot bigger.
Next, you need to make the, what is it? D-Dara?
The D-Daradex. Yeah,
D-Daradex.
nope.
Is that the
Too many
circular
curves.
one?
That's the Romulan. That's the Warbird. Yeah, that
Oh,
one.
okay.
Thanks, Flyboy.
So lots of work to do here.
Yep.
That's
Saucer
okay,
is the
though.
hardest part, for sure.
Eventually, we will finish it, and then we'll have a nice reveal for everyone. And then maybe Minecraft will make it to where we can actually fly it.
Oh my goodness. Never.
Doesn't the saucer look pretty good? I think it looks good.
I think the saucer's great. I think it's really coming along.
Yeah. It's
Like
just
in
it's been a lot of maths.
Yeah, now that I've done the front bit, now that I have like the cross section and the front bit filled in, I just have to repeat that for the underside and the bottom underside, the ventral bit, and then on top, that's going to be a little bit different because that kind of swoops into the neck. Yeah, but it's pretty freaking cool.
Huge.
Yeah, the nacelles and star drive definitely need to be bigger.
Yeah.
Sadly.
They look a little nubbish.
Yeah.
When are you ready to show it off? No, when you're ready to show off, make sure you do about 6 minutes of flying around with epic music playing. Oh, we're doing exactly what the episode did. I am flying so far in space, and look how big that thing is.
So big.
It's crazy how big this thing is. It's
yeah,
so
I made
neat.
it really huge.
It's awesome. How far up can it go? How far up can a girl go?
656, I think, is the build limit.
We're nearing the top.
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, no, it's higher than that.
We're going higher.
In creative mode, it's really high. I think in the real world, it's only like 400 or something.
By the way, the episode is a minute longer than the other so that they could include the extended show off the ship sequence.
That's amazing.
Look how far out we can see it all the way up here in space. Look at that.
Get to the moon.
Oh, it's gone. Nope. No, yeah, it's gone. We will now plummet.
There it is. I think the only reason you can't see it is because your render distance is set to like 8 blocks or something. 8 chunks.
Yeah. And rightfully so, guys. And that's that. We will show you our progress as it is made.
If it is made. No promises.
With the new wind charges, you can blast up way too hot. You're not wrong, Eights.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of our community, both for CinemaSins and for Captain's Pod. We appreciate all that you do. Your time is so valuable, and knowing that you want to build community with us around Star Trek means so much to us. Thanks for all of you who watch these videos after they've been released, whether it is on Twitch for the next couple of weeks. They're available to view on Twitch, or over on YouTube where they are available all the time. There are several hundred of you guys that just literally watch these live shows after we release them, and you are appreciated too. If you can ever make it to a live show, we would love to have you. But we know they happen at a kind of an inconvenient time in the middle of a Friday. So for those who are able to make it, we really enjoy seeing you in the chat. You mold the show live, but those who are listening and watching later, you also influence the show. So thank you for sending your comments and your feedback to us at captainspod@cinemasins.com, or you can join us on Discord. Discord.gg/cinemasins is where you can find the community. You can also support CinemaSins at the Patreon, patreon.com/CinemaSins.
Sin
So
Club.
if you want to become part of the Sin Club and see content early and get other things that no one else gets, like our Sinmentaries, you're welcome to join us there. But just your presence and your downloads are appreciated. And again, we will see you next week for the last episode of Lower Decks. And beyond that, we have some talking to do.
We gotta decide.
We have to decide probably now. So we'll get off the show, make a decision, and then we'll update you guys on Discord. Thank you for everything. We appreciate you. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.